Welcome to KDW, Khan's Digital World, Fox 5 Plus, Washington, D.C. I'm Jasmine Ahmed here for another exciting episode. Recently, the University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley, hosted a virtual webinar. Dr. Bob Doyle, former Associate Dean from Harvard University, moderated a session with Dr. Badrul Khan on remote learning. Come, let's listen to a few snippets from the talk.
On behalf of the University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley, and the Graduate College, I would like to welcome and thank you for joining us for this very exciting Facebook Live event, where we will be hearing from two distinguished guests in just a few minutes over the topic of how the education world has responded to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Thank you for joining us from United States and from all over the world.
Good morning. My name is Rene Corbeil, Professor of Educational Technology. Today, it is my honor to introduce Dr. Robert Doyle, a professional whose career and contributions we have followed and admired for many years. He will be the moderator for today's webinar. Dr. Doyle joined Harvard University in 1984 and retired in June 2020 as Associate Dean, Faculty of Arts and Sciences. Welcome, Dr. Doyle.
Well, thank you, and thank you for your very kind introduction. Let me apologize for the lighting. In the space I'm at, the internet is down in my house, so I just ran over to my neighbor, and I'm in his basement grandchildren's playroom.
Hi, my name is Rene Corbeil, Professor of Educational Technology at UTRGB, and I am the coordinator for the award-winning, fully online, and accelerated Master of Education in Educational Technology. It is with great pleasure that I introduce today's guest speaker, Dr. Badrul Khan. Dr. Khan is a world-renowned author, speaker, and consultant in the fields of e-learning and educational technology, and is recognized as one of the foremost leaders in online and distance education around the world. He is credited with coining the term web-based instruction and popularizing the concept through his 1997 best-selling book of the same name, which paved the way for the new field of e-learning. His Managing E-Learning Strategies book, first published in 2005, has been translated into 22 languages. On April 27, 2015, Dr. Khan was inducted into the United States Distance Learning Association Hall of Fame. So it is with great pleasure that I welcome Dr. Badrul Khan.
Thank you, Dr. Rene Corbeil and UTRGB for inviting me and arranging this important webinar.
Well, we're going to begin with some questions. In thinking that some attendees today might not be well versed with the term e-learning, Dr. Khan, can you provide your definition of e-learning, please?
E means electronic. Therefore, e-learning or electronic learning is any form of learning, formal or informal, that is facilitated through the use of electronic devices that include computers, mobile phones, tablets, smartwatches, as well as the radio and TV.
The title of today's program is E-Learning in the Age of COVID-19. How has the education world been caught flat-footed in its response to the pandemic?
E-learning or remote learning is an open educational system, which is different from the traditional classroom-based instruction. Traditional classroom instruction is pretty much a closed system taking place within the confines of a classroom. In contrast, e-learning is a flexible form of education that allows learners to learn from anywhere, anytime. As we are accustomed to teaching or learning in a closed system of a traditional classroom, the openness of e-learning is new to many of us. If we have not taught online before, we struggle. Why are we struggling? Is it because we are not adequately familiar with the proper utilization of digital technologies in online teaching? Well, technology is only one part of the equation. I believe One reason institutions were caught flat-footed was the failure or inability to consider all the implications, such as a rapid transition from face-to-face to remote or online, would have on faculty, students, and staff.
So your framework for e-learning, which, as you know, I use in 2 of my keynote speeches on MOOCs in Europe, the Educational Technology Conferences, it is obviously very comprehensive and impressive. Okay, so how might institutions benefit from your e-learning framework if they want to effectively implement remote learning?
First of all, I'm so happy to know that, Dr. Doyle, you used my e-learning framework in your keynote addressing. In fact, I presented the framework to the faculty members at your prestigious Harvard University's College of Arts and Sciences in 2006. I remember you did the introduction before my presentation, and I thank you for that.
Thank you for joining us today. See you again at another exciting episode where we will continue our conversation on today's webinar on KDW, Khan's Digital World, Fox 5 Plus, Washington, D.C.